Hey, welcome to Dusted Empires. Today I want to take you inside the Great Pyramid, to a room nobody has ever opened. This is part 3 of what the Great Pyramid is hiding. Tonight, the story changes scale, because what they found above the Grand Gallery isn't a door. It's a chamber, the largest unmapped space inside the most famous building on Earth. And in 2026, we still haven't been inside. To understand how 3 teams of physicists ended up scanning a pyramid, you have to understand what they were scanning with. Every second, your body is being passed through by particles called muons. They are made when cosmic rays from deep space hit the upper atmosphere. They rain down on you, on the desert, on the pyramid, constantly. And here's the useful part. Muons pass through stone, but they pass through empty space more easily than through stone. So if you put a detector under a mountain or under a pyramid, and you count how many muons arrive from each direction, you can map the inside without touching it. It's like an X-ray made of starlight. The technique is called muon tomography. And in 2015, a French non-profit called the HIP Institute put together a team to try it on Khufu. The man leading that team was Mehdi Tayoubi. Now, if you watched our last video, you've already heard his name. He was on the Djedi project in 2011. He helped fund and design that mission from Paris. He saw the footage the moment it came back. And what came back wasn't an answer. It was a second door. So when Tayoubi turned to muon tomography, he wasn't a tourist with a new toy. He was a man who had already looked inside this pyramid once and walked out with more questions than he came in with. 3 institutions joined him. Nagoya University in Japan, where physicists develop nuclear emulsion film, sheets of gel that record the track of every particle that passes through them. KEK, Japan's high-energy accelerator lab, with scintillator hodoscopes, electronic detectors that fire when a muon hits them. And CEA in Paris-Saclay, with gas detectors, the same kind of technology used in particle accelerators at CERN. 3 completely different ways of seeing the same invisible rain. They placed the first detectors inside the Queen's chamber, deep inside the pyramid, sealed in. And they waited. For months, the films and the hodoscopes recorded everything that arrived. Then Nagoya developed the emulsion plates. And in the data, there was a shadow, a region of the sky, a scene from inside the pyramid, where too many muons were coming through. Not too few. Too many, which meant somewhere above the Queen's chamber there was less stone than the maps said there should be. There was empty space the architectural drawings did not show. The Nagoya team didn't announce it. Not yet. Because one detector can be wrong. So they checked with KEK's hodoscope. Different physics, different team, same chamber. The hodoscope saw the same shadow. Then they checked with the CEA gas detector, and they moved it outside the pyramid to the north face. A completely different angle, a completely different instrument. The CEA gas detector saw the same shadow. 3 technologies, 3 countries, 3 independent measurements, all pointing at the same patch of empty space inside the Great Pyramid. And that's when they wrote to Nature. The paper went live on November 2nd, 2017. The headline number was 30 meters, at least 30 meters long, roughly the cross-section of the Grand Gallery, which is the largest known chamber in the pyramid. Above it, slightly tilted, they called it the Big Void. Now, to give you a sense of scale, the Grand Gallery is 47 meters long and 8 meters high. It is a corridor you can walk through with your arms wide and not touch the walls. The Big Void, by the most conservative reading, is 2/3 of that size. Some reconstructions put it longer. None of them put it smaller. A plain-sized empty room inside a solid pyramid above the largest chamber we know about. And nobody had ever seen it. Think about that for a moment. The Great Pyramid has been mapped, walked, drilled, climbed, robotically explored, and photographed for 2 centuries. Napoleon's engineers measured it. Victorian explorers tunneled through it. National Geographic sent cameras into the air shafts, and in 2017, we discovered a space the size of an airliner that nobody knew existed. There is no entrance to it. There is no passage leading to it. There is no inscription pointing to it. There is no Greek graffiti from a curious tourist who got lost. Whoever built this pyramid sealed that room shut before history started watching. And then, 10 days after Nature published, the reaction came. Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former Minister of Antiquities, gave interviews. He said they hadn't found anything. He said it was nothing. He said the Big Void wasn't a chamber. It was probably just a construction gap, empty space the builders left between stones to relieve weight. Now, Hawass is not a fringe figure. For decades, he was the most powerful Egyptologist on Earth. He decides what gets dug and what doesn't. So when he says it's nothing, that carries weight. And he might be right. A construction gap is a real possibility. The pyramid has them. Above the king's chamber, there are 5 small relieving chambers, deliberately built to spread load. Maybe the Big Void is just a bigger version of that. But here's the problem. The Big Void is more than 10 times larger than any known relieving space. It is not above the king's chamber, where weight is the issue. It is above the Grand Gallery, a corridor that doesn't need relieving at all. And the relieving chambers we know about, they are short, flat, and structural. The Big Void is long, tilted, and the size of a room. A construction gap doesn't have to make sense. A room does. Most of the original team, quietly, still uses the word chamber. The team didn't stop. They kept the detectors running. They moved them. They added new ones. And in 2023, 6 years after the Big Void announcement, they came back with a second discovery. This time it was on the north face of the pyramid. Behind the original entrance, there is a stack of enormous limestone beams, arranged in a V, what Egyptologists call the chevron stones. Architecturally, they exist to deflect weight, but they have always been strange. There are too many of them. They protect too small an area. It's like seeing a steel reinforcement around an empty cupboard, overbuilt for nothing visible. The muon data, plus radar, plus ultrasound, all agreed. Behind those chevron stones, there is another empty space. 9 meters long, 2 meters wide, 2 meters tall. They called it the North Face Corridor. It is small. It is not the Big Void. It is a separate thing. But it is the first hidden space inside the Great Pyramid whose dimensions have been measured precisely without anyone going in. And in 2023, they drilled a 6-millimeter hole through the limestone, just wide enough for an endoscope. They sent a camera inside. The footage was released. You can find it online. It shows a corridor with a vaulted ceiling, walls of cut stone, and a far end that the camera cannot reach. They have seen inside the North Face corridor. They have not seen inside the Big Void. Because the Big Void doesn't have a wall they can drill through. It is somewhere above the Grand Gallery, surrounded on every side by tons of solid masonry. To reach it, you would have to drill from inside the existing chambers, through the ceiling, through stones placed there 4,500 years ago. The team has asked. Egyptian authorities have so far said no. And it's worth saying, this isn't a conspiracy. Drilling into the Great Pyramid is the kind of decision a country makes once. If you do it wrong, you damage the most famous building on Earth. The caution is real, but the consequence is also real. In 2026, 9 years after we found out it was there, we still don't know what the big void is. We don't know if it's empty. We don't know if it's a relieving space. We don't know if it's a chamber. We don't know if there's anything inside it. We just know it's there. Step back for a second. In 1872, Wayneman Dixon stuck a wire into a wall and found 2 narrow shafts nobody had ever noticed. In 1993, Rudolf Gantenbrink sent a robot up one of those shafts and hit a door. In 2011, Mehdi Tayoubi's Djedi robot drilled through that door and found a second door. And in 2017, the same Mehdi Tayoubi pointed cosmic rays at the same pyramid and found a room above the Grand Gallery the size of a passenger plane. 4 discoveries, 145 years, the same building. Each time the people involved, engineers, physicists, robotics teams, were told they had probably found nothing. And each time, the next decade proved them wrong. So when somebody tells you, in 2026, that the big void is probably just a construction gap, keep the receipt. Because the history of this pyramid is the history of people being told there's nothing there. And then, finding out there is. We don't know what the big void is. We don't know what's inside the second door. We don't know why a structure with a precise astronomical alignment, built by a civilization that wrote down everything, left no record of 2/3 of its own interior. We just know that in 2026, 4,500 years after the last stone was laid, we still haven't seen what's inside. I'm Dust of Empires. If this story stayed with you, leave a comment with the year you think we'll finally get inside that room. Hit like if you want us to keep following this. When the next Big Void update lands, we'll be on it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching.